Yagi, Asia's most powerful storm this year, has arrived in Vietnam after it tore through China's southern island province of Hainan.
I don't think we realised how extreme this weather event was going to be, and it wasn't until we switched the TV on that we knew the scale of what was coming towards us.
The power went out and the staff were asking us not to leave the hotel. And it wasn't really until the next morning when we saw all the trees were down that we understood the scale of Typhoon Yagi. And people were getting hurt. It was really sad to see. But the most interesting part was how a city like Hanoi bands together to recover from a typhoon, and how everyone supported each other to open up their stores again.
Community kind of rallied together and just helped clean up. They had people with their own hand saws, chainsaws, before emergency services could get there, clearing trees, getting the roads open. And within a few hours, you'd hardly tell that there'd been a storm that scale ripped through. Shops were back open, the people were out in force on their scooters, and it just felt like life was getting back to normal.
Hanoi was extremely busy, and the first thing I noticed was how the footpaths were used for any sort of businesses. You had people cutting hair, mechanics, restaurants, whatever you could think of happened on the footpath. So you had to walk on the road because there was actually no room on the footpath. And the next thing I noticed was the scooters. You think the scooters in Bali are bad? You wait until you see the scooters in Vietnam.
The food was cheap. I'm talking $14 for 2 mains, a beer, a soft drink that could fill both of us up, which I kind of didn't expect. From what I'd seen online, everyone raved about banh mi's, and I can kind of see why. They're so fresh, and for someone who doesn't like coriander, I now love coriander. It just complemented the food over there so well, and you can also get a banh mi and a beer for $4, and that was up my alley.
The cafe culture in Hanoi was fabulous. You don't get your normal mocha or latte or cappuccino. You get egg coffee, coconut coffee, Vietnamese coffee. And the most surprising thing was what ingredients they put into their coffee, and it all somehow just worked together. I loved how you could walk into any cafe and they seemed to have their own special blend of a coffee. It just made drinking at all these cafes so much more exciting because you knew you could try something new at most cafes you went into.
Hanoi's nightlife was probably more busier than during the day, if I'm being honest. The amount of people that were just out and about, not only just tourists, but locals on the street drinking, in the little communities, at the restaurants, at the pop-up kitchens that you just sort of come across. And then you'd sort of walk down Beer Street, I think it's called, or Beer Lane in the Old Quarter, and you were like single file walking through, and just every bar person that was there would just be trying to pull you in to their bar to buy a drink. And we're talking like a $3 beer, but they were just loving it, and they'd have deals, they'd have boards up, and it was fun. It was a cool experience, quite overwhelming. At no point did I ever feel unsafe exploring Hanoi at night, especially in the Old Quarter where we were sort of based out of.
The most iconic landmark that we went to was Train Street. And my first impressions was not what I was expecting. They had small double-story cafes on either side of the street, and you had chickens running down the street, dogs, cats. And when the train comes, the locals just make sure everyone's off the road and all the chickens are off the path as well. and it comes extremely close to you. I wasn't expecting it to kind of almost brush past your knees as it goes by. I think overall, Hanoi was an extremely busy and overwhelming place. As someone that perhaps doesn't enjoy cities, this probably wasn't the top of my list in Vietnam.
In the next episode, we reflect on our time in the picturesque Tam Coc, known for its stunning landscapes, limestone cliffs that rise dramatically over lush rice paddies, and its peaceful river and caves.